Welcome to the Dad Livin podcast. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. Hosted by four best friends who are dads first and storytellers second. We dive into the real, messy, hilarious side of fatherhood. From diaper disasters to teenage drama, work-life balance to building a legacy, we keep it real, fun, and meaningful. Whether you're a rookie dad or a pro, this is your weekly reminder you're not alone. Grab a drink, kick back, and join the conversation.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Dad Livin. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? We're a little light today.
I know, right? I mean, I think we lasted a lot longer than we expected before we got into
we really underestimated the difficulty of getting all of our schedules lined up every week. So, we got to keep pushing forward, though. So
I know, right? And for you out there, I mean, dads, it gets crazy, as you know. I mean, every night, some going on, kids, sports, work. I mean, it's insane. And, Mike's talked about it. Doit has talked about being an overnight shift.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of it now.
We're feeling for him right now. Brian obviously has a demanding job. I'm probably the most flexible with you guys, but it's still a struggle.
I know, right?
But
right. And this is my last week. Hallelujah, that I'm a solo dad. Right.
You did it, man.
Yeah. And, I've given so many shout outs to my wife. Shout out to Kel for, she passed, she graduated everything that she was working hard on and doing in that space. So, kudos to you, babe. Love you. And, we'll see you next week.
Can't wait to have you back.
Right. Yes. Make this a lot easier. Right.
So yeah, sorry out there if you've enjoyed, the faces of the other two guys, but you're stuck with us tonight.
I know.
So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian is kind of sexy,
right? I'm not going to lie. He's a handsome guy. We're all handsome guys. But
Doyman, I mean, yeah, and that baritone voice.
Got that FM DJ voice, man.
I know. Instead, you get to listen to us for a short time. But
what do we want to talk about tonight, Dougie?
Well, we're gonna dive into just the world, everything crazy with obviously emotions, with fatherhood. I think that's such a big thing today, and how technology is so amazing, but at the same time can cause obviously situations with kids. I mean, situations with us. I mean, I think it's just a different world we live in, and especially us being millennials. I mean, it changes the world so much because there was a time where, do you remember before technology? So
it's been said that our generation, I don't want to say the greatest generation, but we still remember pre-internet. I mean, we grew up. The internet was out there, but PCs weren't in every home yet. I don't think I got internet in my house till I was a teenager.
At least, yeah.
And we had video games, and I remember the boomer parents saying back then, "Oh, the video games are going to ruin these kids," and look at what the kids have now to their disposal. And technology should benefit our lives. It shouldn't control our lives, and I think that's what we'll kind of go into here.
Yeah, and all the craziness that parents, fathers. I mean, there's probably been a lot of tough conversations this past week, and I'll obviously kind of intro in high level. I mean, obviously everything going on with the Charlie Kirk situation, and we're not political by any means. I think we want the show to be, if you're a left wing or a right wing, let's all bring each other together and support each other, which that was the whole why behind us starting this, just having content out there to support one another. And obviously what happened is it's tough. As a parent, seeing that, his 3-year-old daughter was there and everything. I'll leave it at that. I mean, that is the toughest thing. And obviously the only thing I don't support in this whole thing is people celebrating it, which it's tough.
It's been heavy. I'm surprised it affected me the way it has. I wasn't an avid Charlie Kirk fan or follower. I knew of him. Obviously he's got millions of followers, and when I saw that happen, just put all the politics aside. Like Doug said, we're not a political show. There's plenty of places you can get that from, you know?
Yeah.
I think we want to be a place for all people to come together, like you said, but politics aside, we watched a husband and a father get assassinated live on TV or, smartphones, whatever you saw it on. And just that part alone is tough enough to deal with. His young kids are going to have to grow up without a father now.
Amazing.
And they're going to see that clip of their father getting murdered on live over and over again. And
Yeah.
that alone's just hit me hard. And then I think too is just my kids are old enough where they know what's going on around them, you know? How do you have these tough conversations with them where, you know, I'm a champion of free speech. I'm a big believer in it. I want to encourage my kids to be able to speak their mind,
Heck yeah.
you know, speak their beliefs. And when you saw a guy get murdered for speaking about what he believed in, whether you agreed with him or not, um, that's not the direction our country should be in. You know, we're 60 years past JFK and Martin Luther King.
Right.
And to see that happening in today's age, and not to compare Charlie Kirk to those figures, but, you know, we haven't had something like that in our lifetime. And I think tying into technology, you open up your smartphone and Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and that's the first thing you see.
Right.
Like, nobody should have to see that. You know, like
No one.
when JFK happened, yeah, it was on TV, but you could easily turn it off. You know, it's been everywhere. You can't avoid it. And this is just one of those things I think we should bring up because it transcends everything.
Agree.
You know?
Agree. Well, and to that point, it's just I don't think we've had this in our lifetime. Obviously, it was an attempted assassination on then you know, former President Trump. But I think at that point too, I mean, if you're you know, an older generation, a baby boomer, you know, post in the comments, you know, kind of how you handled it, having conversations with your kiddos with JFK or any of those, because I agree. I mean, that still makes me emotional when you think about those guys and Martin Luther King and JFK and all that stuff, and then to see it, I think for me, it just brought that wave of emotions of fatherhood, and then seeing his wife and seeing all those things. It's just like, and I think this week has been emotional for me, and you know, obviously have my wife not here and me handling the burden of the kids has been tough. Not gonna lie, work's been crazy, but I think for a lot of us out there, as we're thinking about this, just, you know, don't take life for granted. Treat everyone fairly, and even if they have opposing opinions, that's what's so beautiful about this country is the fact that we can debate and talk and have different opposing views. So
that's the difficult thing about this too, is like, that was a man that encouraged civil discourse. He welcomed debate. Yeah, some of the stuff he said riled people up.
Not debating that at all.
He wanted to host those debates and events to bring people together to talk about these ideas that are honestly tearing up the country apart.
Yes.
And that's been another layer to this. It's been tough to process.
Right.
You know?
Right. And yeah. And that's where, once again, just the freedom of love and having love within each other. Like, we should all love one another, not hate. And, you know, I think technology amplifies that. I've seen, you know, people on my thread that I don't agree with, and that's fine. They have that right to do that. And just because I you know, disagree with them doesn't mean I want them dead. You know, so just keep that in mind as we're out there. You know, pass on love, not hate. And, you know, even if someone has an opinion against you and it drives you nuts, talk to someone. I think that's the big thing that we're talking about here is communicate, talk, and just, you know, get help if you can. So, you know, obviously technology fuels that, and we'll talk about that because I think we're in kind of a weird state where even our kids are hearing about it, and talking with you know, anyone from a 10-year-old to a 5-year-old, you know, that could be tough. So, well, obviously,
yeah, I mean, I don't know how you handle it in your house, Doug, but I mean, I sat my kids down. I told them what happened because they're going to hear about it. They're going to see it talked about. And I just, like I said, I expressed to them, like, a man was killed today for speaking what he believed in. And I don't want you guys to ever feel like you can't voice your opinion and speak your mind. This is not okay. And if people are celebrating this, that is not right.
Yeah,
and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. That's not okay.
Never.
In any circumstance, you know?
I agree. So, you know, on I guess on a lighter note,
lighten it up a little bit.
Lighten it up. Yeah, I know.
Laughter, comedy is the best medicine. you gotta find something to take your attention off some of the stuff in the world today. But so we did a segment a couple weeks ago, and it seemed to be a hit. Super Dad of the Week.
Super Dad of the Week.
All right. So this week I found a story, and I'm trying to keep this current events too, you know. So just happened, I saw it on the NBC Nightly News a couple weeks ago. A dad named John Simpson, I want to say.
Swami Samson.
Samsonite?
I was way off.
Pretty sure it's John Sampson from Hershey, PA. So this event happened at Hershey Park, which is, I guess, is an amusement park up there.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
I don't know if it's Hershey chocolate themed, I guess. Probably chocolate, everything up there.
Love it.
Never been there, don't know.
We're from the Midwest, so bear with us.
This was crazy to me because I could totally see this happening with my kid because he is a amusement park nut. Like 5 of the last vacations we've been on have been around amusement parks. So in his younger age, I could see this happening. So, and it looked like a scene from a superhero movie, honestly. Like I was waiting for Spider-Man to swoop in and grab this kid.
Right? And
so
crazy.
Toddler age, probably 3 or 4-year-old kid. There's a monorail at this park, probably 25 feet up in the air?
Yeah, I mean, at least, yeah. I mean, it was pretty high up.
And out of nowhere, these people notice a kid walking on the monorail track.
Scary.
So what does John Sampson do? He springs into action. This is not his child, but just dad instinct kicked in. He found a way to climb and shimmy up there and got the kid down to safety. I saw the interview he was doing, and he's like, the interviewer was like, how did you muster the courage and the strength to do this? And he's like, I chalk it up to dad's strength, honestly.
Dad's strength.
And, I'm sure you've had those moments where just adrenaline kicks in and like, I got to take care of that kid right now, So,
yeah.
I don't know. It was a sight to see, made the headlines. And I think any of us dads out there would have done the same thing. So, we shall salute to John from Hershey, PA.
John from Hershey, PA. Ooh, man, that is such a crazy story. And if you haven't seen it, just look, type in boy on monorail pretty much anywhere track, and you'll see it. This boy is, I mean, there's no guardrails, there's no nothing. It's just up there. And the fact that this dad did that, especially for kid that wasn't his, is just absolutely amazing. It just goes to show you, I mean, we talk about humanity and love for one another, and that's just so cool. Because
I still didn't see the part how the hell the kid got up there in the first place.
I think it was like like if you follow the monorail down, there was a station and it was connected, but then it was kind of over. It just kind of bridged over the park a little bit. So I think he just kind of was kept on walking, which my son would totally do that too. Totally.
That's why I could totally see this happening to myself and being in that guy's shoes. So
cheers
to that, man.
John.
Apparently he wasn't in imminent danger. The monorail wasn't running, I guess. But still, that fall, if he would have fallen off that track, would have been
kid. Yeah.
So
would have been could have been deadly for sure. So
hero of the day.
I mean, absolutely amazing. So hats off to you for sure, man. So yeah, no, that's such cool stuff. And as you're hearing some of this stuff, post and comment, nominate any dads out there. We'd love to hear some of the cool stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
And going on out there. I had seen some different comments and some different stuff there. So we'll take some of that information, especially if you want to nominate someone, tag them. And
the last clip of that we did kind of was a big deal, and our first viral moment on the internet on YouTube, and a lot of people had different opinions about what we had to say, and it was kind of going back into technology, seeing the good and the bad of the internet,
right. Right. And I mean, and that was interesting as we were talking about it. We have a little text thread going on for Dad Livin, and I mean, it was a few 100,000 views and a lot of comments and shares. So we appreciate all you all that engaged and then followed us and subscribed us on YouTube, which is awesome. So that was definitely cool. But it's also, once you see some of the comments out there, and for any creator out there, really anyone, I mean, heck, we even have it on our like Oakville community page on Facebook. Just some of the comments that go on, it is a little bit scary as you're looking out there.
Yeah.
But I think too, it's it's cool. It's we're spreading the word. Now, granted, it was regarding the Philly Karen, which people have different opinions
It's more
and thoughts.
divisive than I thought.
But yeah, that obviously that dad was just awesome with what he did, and he's gonna get rewarded and go in the World Series. And John, for you out there, you should at least get like a truckload of chocolate. I mean, that would be pretty
lifetime pass to Hershey Park,
right? Yeah. Something that would be great. so hats off to you for sure. So
cool, man.
So yeah, and as we segue, obviously, now in kind of the main segment of today, the technology and how it ties in and what we're doing. I mean, it's obviously anyone that has kids, and I think it's divisive when we talk about whether you should get your kids a pad or a phone. I know some friends that are in that conversation, like, should we get our kids a phone?
We're going through it.
Yeah. There you go. It is a tough world. And I mean, heck, with my parents out there, it was always the, now this is dating myself. So some of you older folks out there is good. I mean, it was like, whether should we get our son a pager or not? I mean, and I remember
had a pager.
You never had a pager? Oh my God. I remember the day I got the pager. I think I was 12 or 13, but we were going to the movie theaters. Like it was so cool. And my mom basically said, when I'm on my way, I'm going to page you.
Yeah.
And I saw that phone number flash up, and I was like, oh shoot, this pager. And of course, no one else paged me.
Put on your belt, make sure everybody saw
right?
it.
Oh, dude, heck yeah. That was hey, yeah, my badge of honor right here. It was my pager on my hip.
I mean, for us, like, an iPhone didn't come out till 2008. Most people didn't start really getting one till a couple of years later. I mean, I didn't get my first phone until I started driving, and it was a Nokia,
Did you? Yeah, you had the Nokia.
Then we eventually got the flip phones, and everything.
See, I started out with the flip phone.
Yeah,
that's right. I had an LG Flip.
Yeah. But so going through it in my household, just personally, we never rushed to give our kids iPads or anything like that. We were very much like, hey, because you look around, you see other families with like the kids do not leave that iPad.
Yeah.
And they take it everywhere, and they don't know what the word bored means.
Right.
And it's, you see how it can just take over these kids' brains. And so we held off on that. My kid, we gave our kid a video game, I guess 2 Christmases ago. So he 7.
Okay.
Nintendo Switch. And, we very much protect the time on it. It's not like he has free reign to play it all day long. Maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day. Some days he doesn't even want it, and it's like, it's not like that's all he's pining to do.
Yeah, that's true.
But recently my wife and I talked about, like, they're getting to the age where they want to like go down the street to a friend's house, or like maybe they need to be alone at home for like 5 or 10 minutes while I'm coming home from work and my wife's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So she said, let's get like another phone to be like the landline at home.
That's the popular thing right now. It's the cell phone, the home phone.
So I guess I was expecting just like a basic flip phone with nothing on it. She came home with an iPhone.
Well, hey.
I was like, hey, I didn't think we are getting our kids smartphones yet, And
Ooh.
So it's like very stripped down. There's nothing on it. You can get apps on it. So like we put a couple games on it for them, if they want to play a video game on there.
Yeah.
But no surfing the internet, no social media apps on there, nothing right now. But I'm like, hey, they're gonna figure out how to.
Yeah,
so
dude.
We're rethinking if we want to return it for something else. But
your kids are wicked smart too.
Yeah,
I could totally see them figuring that out.
Well, Mike's talked about it before, how his sons figure out how to jailbreak their video game,
right?
Or, whatever.
So, man, that's scary. See, I heard about, like, you can get like the what are they, like the disposable phones that just are kind of like bare. That's actually a pretty big trend, like right now, with a lot of families. I know quite a people that have done that. I'm just like, that's kind of smart. I mean, the fact that no houses have landlines anymore, I mean, I cut them out of this house.
Yeah.
When
My
I
mom
first
and
moved
dad
in.
still have one, I
Do
think.
do they?
Yeah.
My parents got rid of theirs, which was a sad day.
I don't
'Cause I
think
was like,
anybody calls on it except spammers, you know.
yeah,
So,
but yeah, man, that is a good idea. Obviously, I've seen, some of our neighbors who worked out early in the morning and their kids are still sleeping. They leave one of their phones there, and that's fine if they're driving together and everything like that. But
yeah.
yeah, what if they both had to go separate ways and their kids had to be there?
Yeah.
I think it's a smart idea to get just a basic phone now,
Or just in case of emergency,
right?
and
Right?
you never know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
But the
and
studies are coming out now how damaging screens are for kids, and I've seen this guy talk. He's got a book out called The Anxious Generation.
yeah,
Jonathan Haidt, I think.
yeah,
I think my wife's actually reading the book right now, but um, he a quote that stuck with me. He said was, "We've overprotected our kids in the real world, but underprotected them on the internet."
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, you think back to when we were growing up, we were outside playing all the time. We had video games, but you know, we were outside touching, feeling nature, being with friends. And that's something that's gone away. Like you drive through neighborhoods now,
yeah.
you don't see as many kids out riding bikes or just a group of kids all together playing.
Playing sports, doing some of those things.
Right.
Yeah,
And like where we live, there's not really any other kids our age on our street. There's kids they're friends with in our neighborhood, but it's kind of like, well,
yeah,
I'm not ready to like let him walk 5 blocks down the street alone, you know.
yeah,
We're starting to kind of test those
yeah,
waters.
yeah. You were talking about the bike riding a couple
Yeah.
blocks down and doing that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But, so what these screens have been doing to these kids, it's terrible to think about, just kids harming themselves, but the rate of childhood suicide and kids harming themselves, especially like
oh
preteen,
yeah,
teenage age girls, has skyrocketed by like 100%. And a lot of
that's
it
tough.
ties back to technology and social media.
Well, and I was watching this video kind of along the same lines as far as like bullying and cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Um, a teacher, and I'll have to post something. Did this awesome exercise where he got his kids together. I think it was like fourth grade, and said, "Hey, what blank piece of paper, no name, no nothing. Write down all the negative stuff that you've gotten either via phone or on the internet, like anything that you've seen online."
Yeah.
And for fourth grade, I mean, God, what age is that? That's
Well, my son just turned 9. He's in 3rd grade. So that's
okay,
9, 10.
10,
Yeah.
10 year olds on there. And the stuff, I mean, it made me tear up a little bit just to see what these kids are going through.
Yeah.
And this is people who don't have the nerve to say it to your face. And kids, which I understand bullying is not a good thing, and all that. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that when cyber, just the nasty stuff that they say is just unreal, and it's terrible. So
Well, I mean, back in the day, think about like you might have had a bully at school, but then you go home and you're away from them. It's out of sight, out of
yep,
mind.
yep,
Now that can follow them home if that kid knows how to find them, if they both have phones or
right,
they're on Facebook or
yep,
whatever. Some of the stuff I've heard about, like bullying through like Twitch, which kids play, like, how they play their games online and
yeah,
everything. So just think about being that age and it's everywhere.
yeah.
And
Well, and even some of the games, not Minecraft. I forgot what the other game is. But there was a lot of
Fortnite or
no, it wasn't Fortnite. It was another game. Um, Crap.
Roblox.
Huh?
Roblox?
Yes,
Okay.
Roblox.
Yeah.
That there was some like hazing going on, some different stuff that was happening as far and even some sexual stuff going on for kids, which is just unreal. When I literally heard that, and I think from a parent's from a father standpoint, that the moment we all get this where like they feel like their kids in the real world and you're trying to protect them. It was that moment when she came home and was like, "Hey, can I download Roblox?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh my God, I just heard this in the news with all this stuff." And I was like, "No, that is not the game." Instead, I said, let's sit down and look through some of the options. And Minecraft was, obviously the gate, all those things. They don't let the conversation happen directly. And I was like, you can download Minecraft, and, I limit my kids on their technology too. Now, granted, we started at an early age, so we see the negative effects there, but we do limit.
When you say you started at an early age, do you mean like they had tablets and stuff?
We got, let me see, it was probably 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So earlier, which, I think when we made the call, it was the like, we felt like it was the right thing. And then the immediate, you get that zombie effect. They're just kind of, they're in there. And immediately it's like, oh my God, now I'm threatening to take away their tablet. I'm threatening those things. And a lot of parents out there do it. So 100%, but it is like, I can see it. And it's tough. It's tough. And, I think that's such a negative thing. But do you remember back in the day when we all started getting, computers?
Oh yeah.
And we had AOL, like the dial up and all that stuff.
We ever had AOL.
Oh, you didn't? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember the moment, like, it sucked me in and I became addicted. I would check that thing so many times, my AIM messenger. I would hop online, we'd play games, but it was always there. And I remember, I knew I had a problem when I was trying to get on late at night to check it. My parents like strictly forbid it. So they'd be sleeping upstairs and I would take that router. And for anyone that doesn't know the sound of it, just Google AOL dial up.
Yeah, you
noise,
could just hide on your phone,
right?
They'd hear the dial up.
Yeah. Oh, I would take 2 pillows and shove it. But I mean, that's telling you, I mean, I was probably 12 or 13 at that time.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of the technology age that we're in, which is crazy because, I mean, it was so limited what you could do, but I was so addicted to AIM stuff and all those things. And
it's just amazing how quickly it's advanced. And I worry about just the world of AI now, what that's going to do to us and our children. And gosh, there's studies already coming out about AI that it's basically making us dumber. And think about it. Like, you don't have to go to a library to do a research paper now. It's all just spit out at your disposal.
Yep.
And, just what's going to be the future for our kids where, the last 20 years, everybody's been told, oh, you need to be a coder,
Yeah.
And they're teaching coding early in school now.
And now you have coding.
Now that's gone.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, there's still the input of, still having that person make that connection for now. But yeah, I mean, heck, I work in the world of digital marketing, and our developers are constantly utilizing ChatGPT for different code and language and API connections, which is insane. So I agree. And I think as we kind of get further down, it's going to evolve and change. It is 100% the future of everything that's going to impact us. Even if you're out there right now and you don't think I'm never going to use ChatGPT or utilize this, just wait. It is coming, and it's coming quick to a point where it's going to shock us. And I've seen some of the world where, change the voices, and it'll even imitate people and do some of those things. And it's scary. It's scary to a point where I've even thought about it, how it affects my kids.
Yeah.
Not only the positive, like I don't want to forget the positive, because there's a lot of good, but just what negative things could happen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I heard this really disturbing story a year or two ago, that a 13 or 14-year-old boy committed suicide because he was on an online relationship with, he thought it was a real person. It turned out to be an AI bot. Controlling his emotions and eventually telling him, yeah, you should just kill yourself. Ooh. I don't know what company made that thing or where it came from, but
that's some Terminator
extreme end.
Terminator.
I know. Every time I log into ChatGPT, I've been using it more and more this year, and it's like I'm just feeding the Skynet to come in and take over the
I
machines are
mean,
going to take over, you know?
I feel like you telling me that story, I just had like a Theo Von moment in my head where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like totally Terminator situation. Like it's coming for us. And that's, I think when we look at all this, like technology as a whole and what impact it has on our kids, obviously it's going to change our generation drastically over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Like, and I think we have a front row seat to it. And I don't know whether that's good or bad in some cases, but we have seen kind of this technology and
Yeah.
we've been in the front row seat for a lot of these things. My thing as a father is, we're taught to be the protectors and all those things, and that's what scares the crap out of me, man. I am petrified to see what the next wave comes in. I'm also excited, but I'm also scared. And I think the unknown in a lot of cases makes that just it it
Well, I
scares
just
the
think
shit out of me.
as parents, we just have to ask ourselves, like, do our kids really need a smartphone?
Yeah.
I think a lot of parents, they don't want their kids to feel like they're, missing out
Right.
or being left behind, and they cave and, well, Timmy down the street's got Timmy's in 3rd grade. Why do you need a smartphone?
Yeah.
You know? So
I agree.
I think it's just everybody's going to have a different opinion. Everybody's going to feel different than us or agree with us, but at some point
Yeah.
you just have to say, this benefit my kid? Do they need it? Does
Right.
it have to be in our household?
Yeah. I agree.
You know?
I agree. Well, and I think too, I think a lot of parents out there, you're going to talk about it. You're going to have that conversation, rightfully, like you said, with you and your wife. I think that's important to have that conversation and, talk about the negatives. Talk about the positives and the negatives and come up with a solution there. And I think it's okay, to say no to your kids in those situations.
Yeah.
They may hate you today. They may hate you tomorrow, but you're protecting them and obviously doing something that is, that like I think ultimately not getting them in that situation where, heaven forbid they get cyberbullied or get pulled in a text thread. I've heard that a lot where you get pulled in this text threads and kids can be mean. And I even saw it last week at an outdoor movie thing at my daughter's and son's elementary school. And all of these kids, like these 5th graders and 4th graders, have phones. The stuff they were saying is just mean, and that's tough.
I mean,
And
let's not
we've all
lie.
been
Like
there.
that stuff went on when we were kids,
Yep.
for sure.
And we
But
just
like I
didn't have
said,
it.
like
Yeah.
you could at least escape it for a short time back then.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
I think, man, I tell you what, like I talked about it the last episode. We were on that camping trip with our family. It was the most enlightening thing to be off the grid and not have cell phone service just for 24 hours.
Yep.
And my kids were even like, wow, this is living. Don't have to worry about anything. And man, the older I get, I'm just like, man, I could just go live in a cabin in the woods and be off the
Right.
grid and get away from all this stuff, but that's not the world we live in. So.
Right. And we'll just have to keep on adapting. That's who we are. That's why we're human and what we do. It's just, these things do some wicked
Can't
stuff.
do anything without it.
I know,
And
right?
that's probably the time we need to start wrapping this up.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm getting some messages with the kids that are falling asleep and whatnot. but no, I think ultimately, as we talk about, well, like we just talked about a lot of different things, but everything that's working in today's society, just sit down and talk with your kids. Like ultimately, I agree with you. I did the same thing, and I think it's impactful to teach them about these things. And I tied it in. My daughter knows Abraham Lincoln. So I tied it in with Abe, and she got it and she goes, okay, well, I feel horrible for that guy, and I'm like, totally get it. So when
the whole Charlie Kirk,
the Charlie Kirk thing and everything going on, so have that conversation. I think you made a good point of just bringing this stuff in. Don't push it away, because your kids are constantly going to be exposed to it. And it's going to happen quickly. I mean, news travels fast. So just talk about that.
I mean, it's a tough conversation to have, but the sooner that they realize like there is real evil in the world, and not everything's always gonna be sunshine and rainbows, and teaching them just how to, in spite of all that, we want to be the light in the world.
Yep.
You
I
know,
agree.
when you see somebody getting bullied, if you see somebody arguing over something that's stupid, like, just be the one to diffuse the situation and calm things down.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Be the bigger person and just think about how it impacts everyone and love one another. And I think, within the technology space too, just having that honest communication. Don't just go out and buy a smartphone for your 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Just because Susie down the road. I think, if that's your choice, 100%. But think about the long-term ramifications and what it causes and yeah,
that's one thing that, as far as protecting our kids, we have the power to control,
right.
and if you want to expose that to them or not, that's your choice, but we can control that.
I agree. So yeah, no, hopefully,
Yeah.
this hit home with a lot of you listening.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately too, give us a subscribe, drop your comments below, let's talk about these things. I think as a community, as a fatherhood community, it's so important for us to support each other and love one another, despite your views, despite your technology, what you're doing for your kids. Like, we're all here together and we're all here to work and support one another. So
Yeah.
let's promise to go ahead and do that.
Dads supporting dads.
Dads supporting dads, for sure.
I'll give a quick shout out to my son. We just celebrated his 9th birthday last weekend.
Woo-hoo.
And boy, if you're ever watching this someday, I just hope you know how much you are loved in this world.
Right.
And you have a lot of people that love you. And yeah, we had a great time celebrating. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're such a good dad. Don't ever forget that.
Thanks.
You cleared out the schedule. You did a lot of stuff. I'm sure, Jen probably did the same thing, but I think ultimately that's awesome, man.
We spend an entire week, every minute's dedicated to preparing for these parties, and then it's over like that. And you go, wow, all that prep for,
but
awesome.
All
that matters is he had a great birthday.
He'll remember it for
Yeah,
sure.
yep.
So, all right. Well, yeah. Don't forget, subscribe to us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Apple.
Yep.
We haven't jumped on the Amazon podcast train, but I started signing up.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I promise you. But ultimately, we love one another. Love you guys, and yeah, have a good day or night.
Later.
See y'all.